Welcome back to Switch Game List. Today we're diving into some hidden gems on the Nintendo Switch that deserve way more attention. These aren't your typical mainstream hits. These are the underdogs, the passion projects that might have slipped under your radar. Let's jump in! The Outbound Ghost puts a fresh spin on the afterlife. You play as a ghost trying to help other spirits move on, but here's the catch. You can't remember your own past. The game mixes Paper Mario-style visuals with turn-based combat, where you collect emotions as abilities. While the combat can get repetitive, the story tackles heavy themes like regret and acceptance in a way that hits home. The character designs nail that sweet spot between cute and melancholy, making each spirit's story memorable. Ever wish Stardew Valley had more magic? That's Fae Farm in a nutshell. Don't let the cutesy graphics fool you, there's serious depth here. Build your farm, craft magical items, and explore dungeons solo or with friends. The game shines in multiplayer, where you can combine spells to solve puzzles and take down bosses. The progression system keeps you hooked with constant unlocks, though the early game can feel slow. What sets it apart is how it integrates magic into every aspect of farming, from growing ethereal crops to taming mythical creatures. A little to the left speaks to anyone who's ever felt the satisfaction of perfectly organizing a drawer. Each puzzle presents you with everyday objects to sort and arrange. Sometimes the solution is obvious, sometimes it's delightfully abstract. Your cat occasionally jumps in to mess everything up, adding an element of chaos that feels true to life. While some puzzles can be frustratingly vague, the aha moments when you figure out the perfect arrangement make it worth it. It's the perfect game to unwind with after a long day. In Lone Ruin, you're a spell hunter exploring ancient ruins. Think roguelike meets twin-stick shooter, with a dash of cosmic horror. The neon-soaked visuals pop against the dark backgrounds, making each spell feel impactful. You'll die a lot, but each run teaches you something new about combining spells and surviving longer. The story is minimal, letting the atmospheric ruins and haunting soundtrack do the heavy lifting. The difficulty curve is steep, but mastering the combat feels incredibly rewarding. The Last Faith wears its Bloodborne and Castlevania influences proudly. Set in a Victorian Gothic world, you're a cursed being, seeking answers in a city overrun by cosmic horrors. The combat requires precision. One wrong move can be fatal. What stands out is the weapon variety and how each boss feels distinct, forcing you to adapt your strategy. The artwork is stunning, though the story can be confusing without diving into the lore. It's a challenging game that rewards patience and exploration. Sword Art Online. Fractured Daydream drops you into a virtual world where the line between game and reality blurs. The combat system lets you switch between characters mid-fight, creating fluid combat chains that feel straight out of an anime. While the story might confuse newcomers to the series, the core gameplay loop of diving into dungeons and upgrading your skills keeps you engaged. The multiplayer raids add another layer of depth, though finding players can be hit or miss. The game nails the feeling of being in a virtual world, even if the side quests can feel repetitive. Dordogne captures the essence of childhood summers in France through watercolor visuals and emotional storytelling. You play as Mimi, revisiting her grandmother's house and uncovering family memories. The game uses actual watercolor paintings brought to life, creating a uniquely beautiful art style. You'll solve light puzzles and collect memories in your journal, building a personal scrapbook of your journey. While the gameplay is simple, the story tackles complex themes about family relationships and growing up. The French voice acting adds authenticity, though some may find the pace too leisurely. Frogun hops into the 90s platformer genre with modern sensibilities. Your main tool is a frog-shaped grappling hook that both helps you traverse levels and grab items. The retro-inspired graphics and chirpy soundtrack nail the PS1 era vibe, but the controls feel precise and modern. Each level packs multiple challenges and collectibles, encouraging replay value. The difficulty ramps up significantly in later stages, which might frustrate casual players. The charm lies in how it uses the grappling mechanic in increasingly creative ways, from solving puzzles to defeating bosses. Pupperazzi turns dog photography into an addictive loop of spotting, snapping, and sharing pictures of pups. Unlike serious photography games, this one embraces chaos and silly fun. You'll upgrade your camera, unlock new areas, and discover different dog breeds while completing photo requests. The physics can be wonky, but that adds to the charm when dogs stack on top of each other or run in circles. While the gameplay loop might seem simple, there's surprising depth in mastering the perfect shot angles and timing. The lack of pressure to be perfect makes it a relaxing experience. Mina and Michi sends two friends on an adventure through a hand-drawn world filled with quirky characters. The co-op focus shines in puzzle design, where each character has unique abilities needed to progress. Playing solo means switching between characters, which can feel clunky at times. The art style pops with personality, even if the animation feels limited. What makes this game special is how it encourages cooperation and communication, whether you're playing with a friend or managing both characters yourself. The story keeps things light and humorous, though some might find it too simple. Hey, quick pause here. If you're enjoying this look at some of Switch's finest games, hit that subscribe button for more content like this. Let me know in the comments which of these games you've played or are excited to try. Now, let's continue with our lineup. A Space for the Unbound explores 90s Indonesia through a supernatural lens. You play as high school students with the power to dive into people's minds, uncovering their hopes and fears. The pixel art brings rural Indonesia to life with stunning detail, from local food stalls to traditional architecture. The story tackles heavy themes like mental health and relationships with surprising nuance. While the pace can drag during dialogue-heavy sections, the character development keeps you invested. The cultural specificity makes this game unique, offering a window into a time and place rarely seen in gaming. The Forest Quartet combines jazz music with puzzle solving and a story about grief and legacy. As the spirit of a deceased jazz singer, you help your former bandmates prepare for a tribute concert. Each band member's level represents a different musical style, affecting both the puzzles and atmosphere. The sound design stands out, using jazz improvisation as a metaphor for problem solving. Some puzzles feel obtuse, but the emotional payoff makes it worthwhile. The way music integrates with the gameplay creates powerful moments, especially during the finale. The Wreck puts you through one of the worst days of June's life, using time loops to explore different conversation choices and outcomes. The writing captures the messy reality of family dynamics and personal crisis. Unlike many narrative games, the stakes feel personal rather than world-ending. The art style uses minimalist 3D models effectively, focusing attention on the emotional core of scenes. While some might find the repeated scenes tedious, each loop reveals new layers of the story. The game doesn't shy away from uncomfortable truths about family relationships. Demon Turf brings 3D platforming into modern times with a unique art style mixing 2D characters and 3D worlds. The movement options feel extensive. You'll double jump, spin, and hover through increasingly complex levels. What sets it apart is the checkpoint system, letting you place your own saves but limiting their number. This creates interesting risk-reward decisions during difficult sections. The combat can feel imprecise, but the platforming challenges make up for it. The character designs pop with personality, even if the story takes a backseat to the action. Tchia lets you explore a gorgeous archipelago inspired by New Caledonia, with the ability to possess animals and objects. Want to scout ahead? Become a bird. Need to cross water? Transform into a fish. The open world encourages organic exploration, rewarding curiosity with new abilities and story bits. The cultural elements feel respectfully integrated, from the music to the language. While the main story missions can feel basic, the joy comes from experimenting with different forms and discovering new ways to traverse the islands. The sailing mechanics particularly shine, making island hopping feel adventurous. The shape of things challenges you to manipulate abstract shapes to create specific silhouettes. Each puzzle starts simple but builds in complexity as you learn new mechanics. The minimalist design helps you focus on the spatial reasoning required to solve each challenge. The difficulty curve feels just right, introducing new concepts gradually while building on previous lessons. Some solutions require thinking outside the box, leading to satisfying eureka moments. While there's no story to speak of, the pure puzzle solving creates a meditative experience. Crypt Custodian puts you in charge of maintaining an ancient burial ground while dealing with supernatural threats. Think management sim meets dungeon defender. During the day, you'll repair tombs, perform rituals, and manage resources. At night, you'll defend against spirits and grave robbers. The pixel art creates a spooky yet charming atmosphere, though the UI can feel cluttered. The gameplay loop keeps you engaged with constant decisions about resource allocation and defense strategies. The humor helps balance the darker themes, making it more quirky than scary. Last Monarch combines kingdom management with deck building strategy. Each decision affects both your kingdom's prosperity and your deck's composition. The art style draws from medieval manuscripts, giving it a unique visual identity. The story adapts to your choices, though some paths feel more developed than others. The card mechanics integrate well with the kingdom management, making each decision feel important. While the learning curve is steep, mastering the systems feels rewarding. The game shines in how it connects your strategic choices to the narrative outcomes. Europa takes the survival genre to Jupiter's moon, where you'll manage resources while uncovering alien mysteries. The science-based approach to the setting creates unique challenges, from managing oxygen in the thin atmosphere to dealing with extreme cold. The exploration feels tense, as every expedition risks your limited supplies. The story unfolds through environmental storytelling, though some might find the pacing slow. The sound design particularly impresses, making the alien environment feel appropriately hostile. The game respects the player's intelligence, avoiding hand-holding in favor of discovery. The last spell mixes tactical RPG combat with roguelite elements in a dark fantasy setting. By day, you'll fortify your last haven and upgrade your heroes. By night, you'll defend against massive waves of monsters. The pixel art creates spectacular battle scenes, especially when magic lights up the screen. The difficulty feels brutal but fair, requiring careful strategy and resource management. While runs can feel similar at first, different hero combinations and building strategies keep things fresh. The game excels at creating last stand moments where victory feels earned through clever tactical choices. Hey, let me know what you think about these games. Maybe you've played some and have a different take, or maybe something here caught your eye. Drop a comment, let's chat about it. See you in the next one.